it's interesting to note that one of CMIC's key accomplishments, like a lot of people talk about innovation in terms of the measured metrics, such as how much money, how many projects, these sorts of things, versus what is the change in the attitude and the culture. And we're proud to say that CMIC has done a lot in that area, especially in surface mining, where we've changed the paradigm and broken down the silos that existed between different surface mining operations, different commodities. And to provide you a glimpse into how CMIC's activities are changing this and changing the future of surface mining, and how Syncrude is playing a vital role in there, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mal Carroll. Mal's the General Manager for Research and Development at Syncrude Canada. In his role, he oversees the operations of Syncrude's R&D department and is responsible for a number of areas, including developing next generation technology options for the future of oil sands development at Syncrude. And interestingly, Mal's background is as an aerospace engineer. Mal, the microphone is yours.
Great, thank you very much, Carl. Certainly looking forward to having a conversation with you today about the Surface Mining Working Group and what has happened over the last 2 years. And I would just like to start and just say CMIC is extremely important to Syncrude, and certainly we are pleased with sort of where we are today. So could we go to the next slide, please? Okay. So one of the reasons we reached out to CMIC a couple years ago was that we wanted to actually expand who we worked with. Certainly we have been very focused on the oil sands, but recognize the opportunity across Canada with other mining operations. So we're certainly done that. The Surface Mining Group has representatives from oil sands, gold, base metals now. And over the past 2 years, we have significantly built relationships and trust, established our internal and external networks. We've essentially got organized, we've shared a lot of information, we've explored a lot of opportunities, and we're starting to prioritize and get aligned. We started off by building a roadmap, and I'm going to talk about this roadmap a little later on in my presentation here. And we've actually identified areas of common interest, areas in alternative haulage technologies, ore body knowledge and sorting, automation, electrification, digitalization, within data and using data, and water and technology and tailings technology, and both in the incremental operational improvements and step change technology. So essentially, we have set the stage for effective collaboration, and I'm going to share a couple examples of that as well later in the presentation. Next slide, please. So the Surface Mining Working Group is made up of the following operation industrial participants: Agnico Eagle, Newmont, Vale, Glencore, Teck, Suncor, and Syncrude. And we currently have a number of active, strong sort of network connections with Canada's Oil Sands Innovation Alliance, and that gives us a connection to CNRL and Imperial Oil and their mining operations. Internally, within CMIC, there's a lot of similarities between the work that is going on with Underground Mining Working Group and the Surface Mining Working Group, with the CIM and the Global Mining Guidelines Group, and some regional connections as well. For example, the Alberta Chamber of Resources and the University of Alberta Mining Industry Advisory Committee. As well, we use a number of consultants on a regular basis, Hatch and Deloitte. There's a future effort ongoing actually right now to strengthen the connection across universities in Canada as well. So our core our core network provides a significant opportunity for collaboration and leverage. Next slide, please. But there's more. CMIC enables and supports and helps create the relationships in a much broader network. And this network includes other mining companies, other oil sands companies, OEMs and suppliers, consulting and engineering firms, mining and supplier associations, international innovation organizations, research and development organizations, both government and non-government organizations, venture capitalists and banks, and then also the innovators out there through the accelerators and the incubators. So one of CMIC's roles, of course, is to help make the right connections with the broader innovation ecosystem. Next slide, please. So the model that's used, the learn, convene, lead model, is extremely effective within the surface mining working group. Learn is, this is about connecting us. It's about sharing information. CMIC provides a lot of support around the convene, the facilitation. This is making sure we have the right conversations. They're happening in the right way with a right result and a clear path forward. And the path forward then takes us to leading projects, initiating, creating projects or initiatives, and through execution and completion. So the framework is in place for us to do this. Next slide, please. So there's been a number of initiatives, events over the past couple years. This is just a sampling of these events. The very first event here back February 2018 was the kickoff for the surface mining collaboration. This was a workshop facilitated by Deloitte with funding from Natural Resources Canada to create a roadmap. This roadmap has been actively used throughout the couple of years. And I'm going to provide some details around that in the next slide, please. So next slide, please. Okay. So the roadmap, and this is the current version of the roadmap, is showing a lot of notes and it's marked up heavily. Certainly not going to talk about all the fine details in this roadmap, but this has been a very valuable tool for us as we've kind of progressed the surface mining working group. It's an evergreen document. It has been revised a number of times, and it has been created through an iterative process. So it is informed by company technology strategies, but it also informs company technology strategies. The activities within CMIC, within the surface mining working group, such as the workshops, the technology scan, which I'm going to provide some details on later on in the presentation, have also helped inform the roadmap. And then again, the roadmap also helps inform those activities. And of course, we need to pay attention to advances in adjacent sectors and beyond, you know, in technical, business, and sustainability innovation in the world. So the roadmap has been a focal point. It's been a great tool to communicate and align on common technology development objectives. Next slide, please. So for the surface mining working group, we currently have 12 specific areas of focus. On the left side of this chart, these are areas of focus that are in the, we'll call it discovery phase, where we're learning about the potential scope, sharing, looking for specific opportunities to discrete initiatives. The right side of this chart is more in the execution and the completion phase of the work as well. And this is where we truly start to realize the value of the collaborative work that we do. So you can see there's a significant amount of work in the hopper, and are progressing projects through the different opportunity stages. I'm going to talk to the alternative haulage project in the execution and completion phase next. Next slide, please. So one of the areas of focus, common areas of focus for all of us within the surface mining working group was understanding and progressing alternative haulage technologies. This is an area of technology that is evolving very, very quickly, and we certainly felt there was a need to do a deeper dive on the technologies that are available in the world. We had 8 companies involved in this, and we had Deloitte actually execute this scan for us with our support. Of course, we shared our current status of technology with our own organizations and provide any information that we had available on technologies that we knew. But what Deloitte was able to bring to the table was their connections around the world, Australia, South Africa, South America, Asia, and help identify the emerging technologies. There were 27 technologies in total identified and assessed on their capability and also their technology readiness level. There was excellent leverage on this piece of work and has provided significant information for us to move forward. Next slide, please. And I'm just going to provide an example of the output of this initial phase of work. This is more progressive technology. It's the use of magnetic levitation to transport ore in a conveyor / pipeline type configuration. Certainly technology. The charts that you see on the slide just show the level of sophistication of the analysis that was done. These charts indicate the capability under different operating conditions. Next step, of course, is to have a look at this technology in the context of our own operations and business. Next slide, please. So the 5-phase model, of course, it just talked about phase 1, which was the identification of potential technologies. Phase 2 is defining a reference model. Actually, this 5-phase model is quite a robust, systematic technology development approach suitable for mining operations and our management of risk. So phase 2, which we're about to enter into, is about defining a reference model for our operations. Phase 3 is the simulations, the optimization. It's looking at the system on a component or a system level. Phase 4 is the field pilots, validation of the technology, and then all of this informs phase 5, which is the final commercial deployment of the technology. So phase 2 is starting in June, and phase 3 will be scoped in July for the alternative haulage technology options that we're exploring. Next slide, please. So it's been, like I said, 2 years, actually over 2 years, and I wanted to talk about a recent event. This was actually just a few weeks ago. We had over 30 participants in this event, and the idea was to actually share our own company technology strategies, and certainly there was a lot of detail shared during this session. The idea is, of course, to understand where we all are after 2 years of working together and to progress to identify the next collaborative opportunities. This is going to occur in July or sometime this summer, and the output of that will be additional joint initiatives where we collaborate together. Next slide, please. So we've come a long way as a surface mining working group. We've grown our relationships, developed a significant amount of trust, and have a lot of openness and that was evident with the session a couple weeks ago. We've got great interactions. We've got a deeper understanding of each other's priorities and challenges. We have we understand our common areas of focus, and we figured out how to leverage each other and the support that CMIC provides us to do that. And we've made these broader connections in the innovation network for mine technology and beyond. So essentially, we have established a framework and the relationships we need for effective collaboration. Final slide, please. And this results in an acceleration of the pace of innovation in surface mining. So thank you.
Awesome, Mal. Thank you very much for that presentation.